Welcome back to Satisfactory. This is DragonLoon. Last time we had completed our solid biofuel production. We also put all of our factory on foundations to get everything organized. Got the steel plates, iron plates, iron rods, screws, copper wire, and cable productions all completely and 100% automated. This time we are definitely going to get our space elevator set up, and we are going to start automating the heavy modular frames and the rotor. No, excuse me. This time we're not doing the heavy modular frames. That comes later. This time we are doing the reinforced iron plates and the rotors. We are getting those fully automated because we need those to produce the first space elevator upgrade part so that we can advance from tier 2 into tier 3s and 4, I believe. So let's go ahead and get on into this. Looks like the first thing we need to finish is our field research, which will get us our MAM. In order to do that, we need 300 copper wire, 300 screws, and 100 iron plates. Let me get those collected, get the little space pod thing sent up, and I will bring you right back. Alright, so there she goes. We now have the field research unlocked, which means we can now build our MAM. This will allow us to do research and unlock even more components. So let's go ahead and get that placed down. Now, unfortunately, as I started collecting all of the materials, we did run into a slight problem with power. And so I had to put down a fourth biomass burner. This is the issue with the biomass burners. They only produce 30 megawatts of power each. And so as we get more buildings, we're going to need more of these biomass burners, which means we're going to need more solid biomass to be able to burn. And it's just an exponentially increasing curve of how much biomass we need to burn just to keep things going. So I definitely want to get coal power up and running as soon as possible. Alright, so let's go ahead and get the MAM put down right here next to our equipment workshop. And let's open this up. Now, we definitely want power slugs because that is going to allow us to overclock things. So I need to go grab that one power slug that I collected so far. There are many power slugs around the map. So there we go. We'll research that. It only takes 3 seconds. Yay! And now we can overclock. We can now overclock or even underclock all of our production things. Alright, so what we actually want to do right now, until we can pull more limestone over, is we either... Ooh, looks like we can't underclock things just yet. I think we have to research another item. Let me double check this. Power slugs. Slug scanning. Ah, yes, we need to research the overclock, underclock. So I need a few more iron plates. Luckily, we have a bunch of those being produced. Alright. So, we'll do that. That's going to take 5 minutes. Well, while we wait for that, we can go around and collect more biomass and start building other things. But let's take a look at what we need to unlock from the hub. So, Parts assembly will allow us to do rotors, modular frames, smart plating, which that is the first project part that we need. It will also allow us to do copper sheeting, which we'll need for water and fluid transportation, and our assemblers, which will be what we need to automate our rotors and our reinforced iron plates. We can also do the resource sync bonus program, which will unlock the awesome shop, which is awesome, and logistics mark 2. But I think we're going to start with the parts assembly first. That way we can get that going. Alright, so I went around and I collected a full inventory of leaves and wood to process into biomass and turn into solid biofuel. And I collected up a couple more power slugs on the way. And it looks like our overclock production is done. So, what we want to do next, I also got some sulfur. I found a small sulfur deposit as well as a small bauxite deposit, but we're not going to worry about researching that just yet. What I do want to do is I want to start working on the alien organs research, because I believe that that's going to unlock some more tech that we don't currently have. So let's go ahead and get that done real fast. Yes, that's right. It's going to allow us to turn all the alien organs into biomass as well. We're not going to do that just yet because we can use it for other things. Such as later on we can use it to... there it is. The medical inhaler, which will heal us up a lot quicker. But it also allows us to unlock the rebar gun, which is just another weapon to use to kill everybody. But we don't actually have enough alien organs to unlock another hand slot and 5 more inventory slots, which we definitely want to do shortly, as soon as we can. But we can unlock the color gun if we wanted to, which will allow us to change the base color of everything that we have, and I definitely want to do that. So give me just a moment to unlock this full tree, and we'll be right back. Alright, folks, so I have the paint gun completed. And what this allows us to do is point and change the color of all of our machines. Now, the other thing we can do is if we right-click, we can change the we can change the color that we paint things, but more importantly, we can go in and edit the default colors and change them to something that more suits us. Such as something along these lines. And then it automatically updates all of our equipment, which I find really, really nice, really awesome. Looks like we're having a minor glitch with some of the foundries? Not sure. Never seen that before. Anyway, so with that being said, we now no longer need to have the paint gun on us. Alright, so the other thing that I did was I got a few more power slugs and turned them into power shards. Now, for our concrete production, we can do one of two things. Our concrete constructor, it takes 45 limestone per minute, but because this is on an impure, this miner is on an impure node, it only produces 30. What we could do is we could add a power shard here and change this to producing 45 per minute, which is I think what we're going to do, or we could have reduced this down to where it makes less than 15 per minute, so that it only takes 30 limestone per minute. But I think once this gets fully ramped up, we should be just fine. So we'll leave it at that. All right. The next thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and get that parts assembly completed. But let's see what else we have here. We have our power, sulfur. Can we do more of this? We could get more, another hand slot. And I think we have enough alien organs over here. No, we don't. We don't have enough alien organs to get another inventory slot. So we'll just go with the parts assembly and go from there. Alright, give me just a few minutes. Alright, and there we go. Now we can make the assemblers. So, now let's go for Logistics Mark II, which will give us our Mark II belts, which can transport up to 120 resources per minute, which will be really helpful for the solid biofuel, because that constructor takes 120 per minute. It'll also give us our conveyor lifts and our stackable conveyor poles, but that's not too terribly important. What we will need is a lot of reinforced iron plate. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we need to work on automating the reinforced iron plates. So we have a few more iron nodes here, and we already figured out that one Mark I miner can support 2 refiners, and one iron refinery can support 1 iron plate constructor. Now, the problem is if we go in here. Alright. So I have 2 assemblers set up side by side because we need to automate rotors and reinforced iron plates. So if we go in here and we choose reinforced iron plates, it takes 30 iron plates per minute, and one constructor producing iron plates produces 20 per minute, so we're going to need 1.5. It also takes 60 screws per minute, and one constructor produces 40. So we're going to need 2 constructors making screws in order to do that. Well, one constructor for screws takes 10 iron rods per minute, and the iron rods are produced at 15 per minute. So in order to supply 2, we would need 1.5 constructors making iron rods. So for one assembler, we need 2 iron plate constructors and 4 screw / iron rod constructors. Well, that means that we would need 3 refineries just to support 1 assembler. Now, if we look at our rotors, they need 100 screws per minute and 20 iron rods per minute. So, in order to do that, we would need, for the screws, because again, they produce at 40 parts per minute, we would need 3 constructors producing screws, and we need 20 iron rods per minute, and the iron rods are produced at 15 per minute. Now, there is a really, really great tool produced by a gentleman that goes by the name of Greeny that helps you see all of these calculations and know exactly how many machines you need in order to have in order to produce X number of components per minute. So if we come over here, I actually had to use a different calculator, as Grainy's calculator is still utilizing the pre-update 3 ratios. He looks like he's still working on it. This calculator here is made by a gentleman by the name of Anthor. And if you look right here, I've already set all of the options to what we currently have, which means Mark 1 belts and Mark 1 miners on normal nodes, because that's what we're working with for our iron nodes. And in order to get 5 reinforced iron plates, which is 1 assembler's output at 100%, and 4 rotors, which is 1 assembler output at 400%, this is the number of buildings that we're going to need. We're going to need 2 Mark 1 miners, which we have 2 normal iron nodes still not being used. We need 4 smelters, 10 constructors, and 2 assemblers. That is going to be a lot of buildings that we need and a lot of power, which means that we are going to need a lot more biofuel generators. Not fun. Alright, so in order to make things easier, especially for the fuel, we need to increase these to at least one of them to a Mark II belt, which means we need the Logistics Mark II. So give me a little bit to get all of the resources together to be able to get the Mark II belts, and we will go from there. Alright, so we got that going. So let's go ahead and get the Mark II conveyor belts. And those require reinforced iron plates. Not fun, because we really don't have the materials for that. But we do have a little bit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Mark II conveyor belt, and we can't even upgrade this because we need 8. Alright, so I got the reinforced iron plates needed to be able to upgrade those to Mark IIs. So that's going quicker. And then we can also upgrade that to a Mark II to allow those to move a lot quicker. But it looks like we are not out of that yet. It looks like this whole system needs Mark II conveyor belts to run really efficiently. Alright, so now that we have this producing a little bit more efficiently, we can get going on our next project. And because we're going to need so many machines, and we're going to need all of these parts still for other things, what I want to do is I actually want to build the automation for the reinforced iron plates and the rotors on the 2nd level. So in order to do that, we need a bunch of concrete and a bunch of iron plates, because what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to grab our walls and build up 3 floors, and then we can add a foundation there. Now, in order to get up to that, we are going to need some foundation ramps. Once we have the awesome store unlocked, we can get actual walkway ramps and other things that make it look a whole lot nicer and neater. But for the time being, we will just do this. And then we're going to put in a bunch of foundations. Let me get this platform built and bring you right back. All right. So, we have everything laid out. It took me a little bit longer than I thought because my OCDs kind of got in the way. I like having my machines lined up nice and neat. In fact, I got a comment saying that because of the way that I organize things, the person who saw the video was inspired to go back and reorganize all of their starter bases and everything. So, let me show you what I did. The plan called for 4 smelters, and I set those up right in a row. And I used the splitters here to determine where I was going to be setting up my smelters. But each smelter is set to process iron. The first 2 smelters over here, which are being supplied by this one Mark 1 miner, those are just for our iron plates. And I have those already set up and wired up. Now, an iron plate constructor produces 20 per minute, and we only need 30. So what we had to do was we had to split one of the constructors. Hold on. We had to split one of the constructors to where 5 are going this way, 10 are going this way, and 10 are going down. I have it going down because that's where I'm going to put the awesome sink, or the storage containers that all the excess components are going to go into before going into the awesome sink. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, but that's essentially where the awesome sink is going to be, and it's just going to take all the overflow. So, I have that set up. Then, it called for 4 constructors. Yep, and it looks like I missed connecting a few constructors. Sorry about that. Those mergers are going to go there, like that. Okay. Alright, so then it called for 4 constructors making iron rods, and I have those set up here in a row. Well, each constructor making iron rods can run 1.5 constructors making screws. So they're all split down. This one here is split, and half of it is going into this constructor making screws, and the other half is being combined, or actually a third. It is essentially going to be a third, is going to be combined with a third of that one to run this middle constructor making screws. And 2/3 of that one is going into this constructor to make screws as well. Then down over here, we have this constructor for iron rods being split, and half of it is going in here for screws, and the other half is being combined with this last iron rod construction for a total of 20 iron rods, which is what it actually needs to be, but it'll actually end up being about 22.5 or something like that ultimately per minute, and that is going into the assembler. Now this assembler here is making rotors, and this assembler here is making our reinforced iron plates. The one thing I forgot to set up real fast, which I can do really super fast. So, all we need to do in order to turn all of this on is just hook up one power line. Connect that power pole to that power pole. That's all we have to do. However, unfortunately, the plan actually calls for saying that the total required power consumption is 90 megawatts. And if we come down here and take a look at one of our power poles, we can see that while we're producing 100 megawatts right now, our peak, we're using about 60 megawatts. That means we only have 40 megawatts left, and we need another 50. So we're going to have to build some more biomass burners. And like Dr. Frankenstein once said, it's alive! It'll take a little bit for everything to get up and running, but everything should be running at exactly 100%, minus this little excess here. And so we'll give all of this a little bit of time to produce some more reinforced iron plates and some rotors, and then we'll use that to start producing the space elevator parts. Now, I know I said that we would definitely get the space elevator down, so let's go ahead and figure out exactly what we need for that. We need the one space elevator. So, looking over here, we need 500 concrete, which we have that on hand already. We need 250 iron plates, which we have plenty of that in storage. We need 400 iron rods. Again, we have plenty of that in storage. And we need 1,500 wire. I hope that we have that already made with the amount of time that it has taken me to get all of this constructed. So, before we place it down, we are going to go up to this second floor so that we can get a better view of things. And we are just going to put it down right here. But we're going to turn it in such a way where we can access those conveyor ports, and we also want it close enough to where we can still access the space elevator from this floor, just like that. And watching this thing come down is always so awesome. The animation they did a really top notch with this animation. Alright, and yep, we can still access the space elevator from here. So, and just like that, we are starting to produce our first space elevator parts. For the time being, we are finally on our way to Tier 3 and 4. We have our space elevator in place. We have automated the creation of the first space elevator parts, and you can see that it's already working away. We have automated the creation of reinforced iron plates, as well as rotors, and starting to get a backstock of those. And we have the production lines needed for all of that. Next time, we will unlock the awesome sink so that we can get rid of the excess iron plates there that we don't need, as well as any other materials that we have an excess of. And we'll keep unlocking more technology and getting further and further along. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like, as it really does help me continue to produce this content. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more of this awesome content. Until next time, stay frosty out there.